This episode of Profiles in Risk is brought to you by Insurtech Connect Las Vegas. The legendary ITC is coming back to Vegas October 14 to 16 at the Mandalay Bay Casino. ITC is the largest Insurtech conference in the world by a long shot and the absolute cannot miss event of the year. We never miss it, neither should you. Register today using our discount code INSNerd200. Again, that's INSNerd200 and see you in Vegas, baby. And when you're there, look for me. I'm the guy with the red top hat and ask me for a magic trick. Okay, did you have a question? It's being recorded, but I will cut this piece.
That's fine. No, I was just saying, like, in terms of if we need to like cut something out or whatever, I can work with you through that, right?
So when we get to the end, I will give you a tentative date when it comes out, likely a month out, because we have so many. And basically, you have a few weeks to
like modify it. And how much is the snippet? Like, you don't use the entire thing, right? You use like 5-10 minutes, something like that.
We usually go like 30 to 40 minutes. So like
okay.
If you don't send me anything about editing,
okay, you could just do the whole thing.
And the whole thing, yes.
Awesome.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and there we go. Your overly caffeinated host, Tony Cañas, and recording, I don't know, the 4th or 5th episode of this tour to Costa Rica, my native Costa Rica, where I'm visiting my mom. And today I have with me Arlind Mucaj, Moo like cow.
Perfect.
We've been friends for like 7 years, and I did not know how to pronounce your last name until today. CXO at Insurtech America and AVP CDO, or Chief Data Officer, Exchange and Partnerships at Verisk. So, Arlind, first of all, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Oh, it's great, Tony. Thank you for having me on your podcast. Been meaning to come on here for quite some time, but as the old adage goes, better late than never. And I look forward to the conversation and what's in store for our audience.
Perfect. So I'm guessing the first thing the audience is wondering is what the heck is Insurtech America? So let me preface. Okay. So from my perspective, Arlind is kind of the quiet strength behind the throne of what we have thought of for several years as Insurtech Hartford, led by Stacy Brown. So like Stacy, Arlind have been the team from the very beginning, right?
Spot on. I came on board around 2019, which everything kind of took off. Yeah.
Perfect. So now I've had this conversation with Stacy offline, where hey, the name Insurtech Hartford is probably not the right fit going forward, given that even though Insurtech Hartford is the flagship event, which is, by the way, is fantastic. I missed it this year because of a conflict, and I'm so sad that I missed it. I've been there every other year, and I hope to be there next year. But yeah, fantastic event. But it now encompasses Insurtech Hartford, Insurtech Chicago, Insurtech Atlanta, Insurtech Tampa or Florida. I don't know what you guys call it.
Florida, yep.
England. Those are Insurtech Carolina. Those are the ones that I've been to that are
spot on
America, right? I might be missing 1 or 2 that I've never made.
No, so you got the 6. You got the 6. That's it.
That tell always has been that the logos of all of them are the same logo in red with a different city.
Yes.
So that's how you knew that those were part of Insurtech Hartford. So Stacy finally came to his senses and realized that it needs to be branded under a bigger umbrella, and came up with the name Insurtech America. And finally, you guys are starting to use that brand. So for the listeners, that is, so when Arlind says Insurtech America, what it really means is what you think of as Insurtech Hartford and its multiple subsidiary cities. Fantastic.
Spot on, Tony.
All right.
Spot on.
So Insurtech Hartford. What was the idea when you guys first started it back in 2019?
Yeah, going back. So Stacy founded the organization in 2016. It started, believe it or not, if you remember, meetup groups, right? So he was leading innovation at AXA XL, and he's like, I'm in Hartford. I want to be able to create a community of like-minded career individuals in insurance and have conversations, right? Open conversation, expand beyond the four walls of what each carrier is doing. So that's how the idea originated. I knew Stacy was having these events. Obviously I was building my career at the time. I had just moved from a career outside of insurance to insurance back at Hartford Steam Boiler, part of Munich Re. And then in 2019, at another conference, funny enough, it was actually Guidewire Connections up in Vegas, uh, west, not up. Well, up for me because I'm in Florida now, in Tampa. So up, and he talked to me about the vision. He said, I'm looking to get more folks kind of involved, and that's how I started my volunteer work with the organization. My role with them is like, I call it fractional chief experience officer. Kind of talk a little bit about, hey, what can make these events better? And you perfectly said it, right? It started as Insurtech Hartford because obviously that's where we resided. The origin there, it's, old, as we call it, the insurance capital of the world, even though sometimes that changes things now, depending how you view things. And a lot of our partners and a lot of our connections were in Hartford, but it slowly started expanding. And to me, it's all about building these communities. So while we're having this conversation, right, I'm sitting in Tampa. So to me, it's the community aspect that brings together these like-minded individuals to talk about what are some of the obstacles, what are some of the challenges and opportunities in insurance right now. Tampa being very catastrophe prone, we care a lot about true homeowners insurance, auto properties, commercial side that will impact us from catastrophes that could happen. Think about the Hartford community, right? That's the traditional carrier. So there's a lot of partnership opportunities that could start based on what the traditional carriers are looking for needs. You go up towards like, the New England area, right? So that's where there's a lot of schools. So there's a lot of talent management, talent movement, insurtechs and startups that are being built. So that's where, the what I call the boards, as well as the community members in those various communities, kind of push Stacy and the group to say, hey, expand beyond Hartford. Now you've got a following, you've got these communities of practice, and build and start expanding and building. And the one cool thing about Insurtech America and all these various boards is that each of them have their own board members, which kind of dictate what the agenda should like for each of these events. They all are made up of various constituents across the value chain: carriers, brokers, solution providers, regulators, and so on. So I think it brings together a diverse thought of leadership among those entities to be able to bring something forward to the insurance industry.
I'm looking at the website, and what is the difference between the official communities and the target communities?
So target community. So this is a vision that Stacy wanted to build the entire insurtech ecosystem across the United States, right? So you'd had conversations with folks up in like, Austin, or folks, somewhere in Des Moines, because there's a lot of insurance communities of practice. So there is a goal to be able to expand between the 6 that we currently are part of the umbrella, and start expanding. So that's where there's a target and then a current list of communities that are under the umbrella.
By the way, currently official only lists Atlanta, Chicago, and Hartford. So it looks like it's
we got to change. We got to update, make that change. That's a good thing.
Just so you know. All right. I do have to say, so my day job is basically going to insurance and insurtech conferences.
Yeah.
I do a ton of them. And there's years where I feel like all I do is chase Stacy around the country. And I see a lot within the insurtech space, and I have to say, Insurtech Hartford, especially home Insurtech Hartford,
home base,
but in general, you guys do a fantastic job of actually getting the carriers in the same room as the insurtechs. And that is super radically important, right? The insurtechs, the carrier is the buyer, and it's a tricky balance. It's a tricky balance to get enough carrier executives in there, so that it's a good event for the Insurtechs, and to encourage that cross pollination in every way between carriers and Insurtechs, without the carrier executives getting mobbed, right, by over Insurtechs with limited runway that need to sell yesterday. And from the beginning, I'm guessing because of you guys being carrier executives, your origins, you've known how to navigate that well to create an event that makes sense for both sides. And I've heard from a ton of influencers in our space that it is one of the events that has the best community, right? So yeah, it really is a special thing, right? Like Insurtech New York, which I know you guys partner with, has
a lot
going on, and some of the other local groups have good things going on. But yeah, in my opinion, Insurtech Hartford, because you guys are former carrier people and the Hartford's importance within the carrier world, as the second capital of insurance in the U.S. after Des Moines, Iowa.
Yes.
I just had to get that one in. Or the old capital of insurance in the U.S. It just has that. Yeah, it has that advantage of the carriers are kind of playing in home turf and they're more comfortable. They're more likely to show up.
Spot on. If I may add, Tony, so we used to be known, like Stacy's logo was like, it's a insurance conference for insurers, made by insurers on behalf of insurers, right? So he really wanted to hone in on kind of like our traditional roots. And like you said, traditionally insurers are buyers, but also what is often kind of missed, right, is that we're not media people. If you think of the traditional conferences, they're media-based companies with lots of funds, right? Stacy, this is kind of like his startup, right? This is like a true Insurtech, but on the event side, So I think what he's trying to build is more this organic, community. And I would consider, like I think you've mentioned to us even in the past, is truly a community more than a conference or a gathering. And I think that's where he needs to hone in on. I think that's the part of this Insurtech America brand where I think we can start building, because it's through these communities and different disciplines that are predominant in those communities that will all be able to solve true insurance problems, right? And carriers are one input into that equation. Obviously, we need the innovation leads and these insurtechs, and now the MGAs of the world providing, and the capacity providers. But I would say one thing that's really moved us forward is going from, let's not look at ourselves as just a conference or a regional conference, but we're building a community that happens to bring people together on a once-a-year event. And those things could change, right? Maybe there's a need for potentially another larger gathering. I keep telling Stacy maybe something more down south. That would be preferred on my end. But let's see if he listens. But that's where I think we needs to start focusing, and that's where my role as the CXO is to be able to hear what our audience is saying. A few years back, we had it at Mohegan Sun, right? And a lot of feedback was great location, great experience, but it's kind of far for us to travel to Bradley and then do another hour and a half. So we brought it back to downtown Hartford, right? So we increased the numbers this year, had some great positive feedback, and there's always to improve. But that's where my role is, to be able to hear what people are saying and hopefully provide a better community experience overall.
Mohegan Sun was a great venue. That was a great experiment, and it didn't fit. And what I mean it didn't fit you. You hit it on the nose in that getting to Hartford is hard enough
Yeah.
in the airport.
Yeah.
Getting to Hartford is hard enough. Getting to Hartford and driving an hour to this beautiful venue was just a bit too much of an ask for most people who are not from the Northeast. Now, if you're in the Northeast, you can drive in from Boston, etc. So if you're from the Northeast, it's not bad, but I do think that we missed out on some attendance, and then we had the bad luck that the dates kept colliding, right? So 1 year was the same time as Rims, and
Yes. Yes.
like twice in a row, we ended up having significant competition from big events. And if I have to choose, uh, and one of them involves flying into Hartford, Connecticut, and driving an hour into nowhere to this
Yeah.
venue. So I think it belongs downtown,
Yeah.
and that makes I wasn't there this year, but
Yeah.
if I had to guess, you had a lot more carrier people. Uh, that
Obviously, within a mile radius, there's like 10, 15 carriers right there that have
like
offices
so it might
for
not
sure.
be as beautiful of a venue,
Yeah.
but the first couple of years, which were in downtown Hartford, it was great.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was an interesting experiment to go to the Mohegan Sun, but I'm glad that it's back in Hartford. I think that's the right thing to do. Uh, uh, so what can you tell us for 26 on the Insurtech
Yep.
America
So,
side? What
yep.
can we expect? Uh,
Nice segue. So I'd have to say, in terms of like you know what you mentioned, right? In terms of when it's going to be, we're still working. Obviously, Stacy handles all that venue selections, which is most likely going to be the same as last year, and the timing. This year, what we're thinking is probably not going to have many competing other events out there, right? So I think we're going to be, in terms of the dates, we should have a pretty clean slate in terms of when it's going to happen. There's nothing within a couple of weeks' time that should compete with the annual Insurtech Hartford conference, and hopefully becomes Insurtech America conference. Who knows? And then in terms of what more we're doing, I think Stacy and the board members of each community, they want to potentially do other type events, more of another smaller like conference, but more focused toward another discipline, like whatever that means. Maybe it's an ENS type side conference, but they're having discussions in terms of, like, first of all, where to host it, what's it going to be about, what's a differentiator of potentially adding another conference among how many other conferences are out there. So it has to be
Columbia.
very targeted. Exactly. It has to be very targeted, and it has to fulfill a need. If there is a need out there, then I think that's where it becomes a reality. And then continue expanding with the communities. So right now, the model has been, we do quarterly events at all of these communities of practice. It follows a similar model in terms of like networking, an hour's worth of content, but we want to do more, I would say, informal get-togethers, right? So more like happy hour type things, maybe more roundtable, peer industry type of get-togethers, and more curated content. So I think that he's going to start expanding more on that side, and then really start, I think, the more of the recruitment process a lot earlier, just because of like the way the association is made up by a lot of volunteers, a lot of fractional resources. There's a little larger tail, so start that process a little bit earlier. So hopefully that should lead to better performance in terms of the onboarding experience, more curated content. But I think the model should slightly, I think we liked it again this year when we had two main stages, like an open concept in terms of the trade show and the location. I think you're spot on. It has to be within Hartford because of the distance, the proximity to a lot of the carriers, the Hartford, the Travelers, Sun Life, Beasley, all the ones that are kind of within that 1 mile radius.
Perfect. So the Verisk side.
Yeah.
So you uh you did several years, 9 years,
9 years.
and had significant growth. So 6 different roles. So awesome experience at HSB. HSB, for any listener who might not be too familiar, HSB is super interesting. Owned by Munich Re, and they are the industry's go-to for equipment breakdown, basically, right? They white label equipment breakdown for just about everybody. A few other things, but great specialty carrier. So then from there, you move down to Florida and go to Verisk. So Verisk, number one, they own ISO, right? So it's super important
Always start
on the policy language, all the loss costs,
forms,
all that
rules.
ISO does. Number two, Verisk is kind of, I've described them before as kind of the central nervous system of our industry. They truly are so.
I like that comparison.
Out of, I mean, we have many data providers.
Yes.
But I would say none more deeply embedded in every freaking carrier than Verisk, right?
2,000 plus. Yep, spot on.
Just about every. There is no competition on that. I wonder how many LexisNexis does business with, but every major carrier, every middle-sized carrier, probably most small carriers use Verisk for something or another. It really is the closest thing we have to like a central nervous system for the industry. And I love that Verisk has not fallen asleep at the wheel. Right? It's not a cord. Verisk keeps innovating. And just I don't know, 2-3 years ago, they hire Louis Dimodugno.
Louis Dimodugno. Yep.
As their global chief data officer. Louis has been on the podcast for the listeners. If you guys want to hear his episode before he joined Verisk, when he was an independent consultant, kind of in between his carrier career and his Verisk career, he was episode 437. So they bring in Louis Dimodugno, and what are you guys doing?
Yep, spot on. So, like you mentioned, right? Moved to Florida February of 2024, and there was about 4 months there before I was gonna have to find a new role, because obviously, with my move to Florida, I still had to be in Hartford 2 to 3 days a week. There's this, work remotely. It was not allowed.
They will live to regret that.
I love, man. I had great experience. HSB, I have great respect for the leadership. The team I was with, Digital Risk Solutions, I had a lot of autonomy building, partnering with, technology companies that are solving kind of like equipment breakdown, IoT based needs. But hey, everything happens for a reason. So I take everything from what I've learned and hopefully move forward. But that was that weird time frame. And then I get a call from Louis Dimodugno, who used to be the chief data officer at Hartford Steam Boiler, HSB. And he's like, hey, I've moved to Verisk. I'm building a practice in the chief data office here at Verisk. And we need somebody that's got both kind of like a technology background, a business background, and also someone that is engaged in kind of these events, right? And the voice of the customer, the voice of the industry. And since you've done a lot of work with the community of practice in Hartford, he's like, what about maybe just giving this a shot? And really my role as the lead, what I call the CDOs, that we call it a data exchange and partnerships, right? Really the data exchange, all it's out there is to be the voice of the customer, for Verisk to be able to network and connect with peer industry technologists and leaders on the carrier side and on the broker side. So Verisk vision, obviously they're very well known on the business side. ISO, a lot of people that, like you said, are pricing and risk management and claims adjudication are aware with ISO rules, loss costs and forms, and obviously with Xactimate on the claim side. But where I think it stopped enough, and when I worked on the technology side, a lot of those carriers, I just knew them as ISO. I didn't understand the whole breadth and depth of what Verisk was. We have over 100 different products. When I came to
nobody understands the depth of Verisk. Like only people who have worked at Verisk forever, or or recruiters who
Yeah.
spent years marketing to the carrier world, and every road led to Verisk, right? Like Air owned by Verisk, owned by Verisk, and owned by Verisk, and they just bought that, right? So like only people who have had to like try to map out the industry realize, holy crap, Verisk truly is everywhere.
That's it. Like you said, I think it was it's a great example you meant. Either recruiters, because obviously you have to recruit for various roles that are within our company, and then like the people that were, and there's people that have been there 25, 30 years. We were just at a town hall. There was somebody that had been there 40 years, and it truly reminded me of Hartford Steam Boiler HSB, because usually when we had our town halls, we had people that have been 30 plus years. So it was a quite an easy transition for me for a company of that depth and breadth, right? So I'd say my role is, I think, three part, right? So the program hopefully should enable Verisk to become a trusted a partner, a technology partner to the industry, and you do that by a lot of VOC work, understanding, going to various conferences, partnering with carriers to build that one Verisk theme, right? Like actually truly solve problems for the industry and become that trusted technology partner. Two is, the objective is to what I consider is cultivate and develop a partner and channel ecosystem. A lot of people come to Verisk to say, well, hey, you got all this data, right? You're the data aggregator of the industry. Who are you partnering with to be able to provide those insights to the community? So in the data side, we have partnerships with AWS, with Snowflake, with ThoughtSpot, with Revify, right, with Sensing, which is an entity resolution company, right, and that's where we're trying to kind of like bridge and separate the noise out there in terms of who are our partnerships, so then we can go to carriers and say, hey, if you want to get our feedback, this is who we're partnering with to deliver the services that we provide over to you. And obviously we attend a lot of conferences, so we talk to a lot of various partners that are looking to be part of our overall umbrella. And then I say the other one is simplify the data exchange process, right? A lot of carriers tell us, we submit so many files to you. Can you simplify the data exchange so that it's easier to be able to share, and then you share back some of that data, and then cultivate it. So like those 100 different products, there's multiple ways to do it. Do we do it through secure FTP file transfers, right? Do we do it through APIs? Can we do it through data exchanges, right? Is there an opportunity here to kind of start working together? And really, the approach that I consider is we do it through a myriad of ways. We leverage our own internal ecosystem. We have a lot of strategic alliances. We have a dedicated client engagement team that we work with. All our business unit leaders who've had connections over decades now, since the ISO and overall Verisk has been done. Attending conferences like with kind of like you go, Tony, to we attend a lot of conferences. We go to both traditional Insurtech conferences, but also more disciplined. Think about like underwriting, claims, technology, or whatever that might be, data, right? Since I'm in the CDO organization, there is a lot of data specific conferences that we attend to be able to stay abreast of the latest trends and technology that are happening in the data and analytics phase. And then the other thing too is, I say, more of a curated content, right? Peer industry roundtables and workshops where it's better quality than quantity. So I'd rather have a conversation with 3 4 good quality folks that are kind of talking about what's challenging right now with how we can do that exchange better, how we can solve their problems better. Are you having any issues in terms of like the cleanliness of the data? Can we simplify it, so instead of us back and forth asking you, hey, send another file because we missed this table or we made this column, how can we kind of simplify those things? So my role is not to be able to be the doer. My role is to be the enabler, the collaborator of making those connections. And I have a supporting cast of team members that are specifically knowledgeable on the latest technologies that are happening, so that when we get the technologists talking, it simplifies that translation. But at the highest level, we got to be able to take that technology talk into business talk and kind of correlate what is the art of possible with some of these technologies.
I
A lot there, a lot there.
uh, a few things that I found really interesting, more about your own personal journey. Well, no, number one, did Verisk not have a chief data officer until Lewis came on?
They did. They've actually, I think Lewis is the third
Oh,
CDO, but yeah, he take on a larger role, right? So we report to our, CIO. So Nick Daffin is the chief information officer at Verisk. But what Lewis provided is more of that structure of what truly a data officer should be doing, right? So we talk a lot, about data observability at our company. We're at the core, right? Making sure that we can solve the needs of how data comes within our four walls, is properly aligned. We become good stewards of the data, and then how we're sharing it with our constituents and with our partners. So that more of that traditional CDO work on top of like all the other special initiatives that we have going on. But there used to be one. He's just provided more of the structure of a true chief data officer.
I also really I love the fact that your extracurricular volunteer work brought the opportunity. There is
Yes.
great, great, great uh uh lesson there for insurance professionals that there are more multiple paths up the mountain, and in the modern world
Mm.
there truly are multiple paths up the mountain. I'm a CPCU fanatic. I'm always telling people to do the CPCU, but I'm also always telling people to network and to do extracurriculars that are related, that they're passionate about. And this is a perfect example of how uh, putting in a lot of unpaid work in the right place
Nice.
uh, gets you the perfect opportunity for you.
Mhm.
Uh, so great lesson there for young insurance professionals or early stage insurance professionals on how. And by the way, there's actually, now that I think about it, there's two parts to that. He knew you from having worked at HSB,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
you have to do the job well enough. But your extracurriculars and your networking bring those less traditional opportunities that can be huge for your career, and that right, you can be the first person doing a really cool new job because you've been doing something similar in your extracurricular world, in your yeah uh
It's the it's the traditional sense. Right place, right time, right opportunity,
uh-huh
plus the right person. The person that's truly willing to speak for you, that can vouch for you, right? That the change agent that can say, hey, I've seen this person be successful at other parts that they're doing, right? I mean, I was on the technology side at HSB. I moved over on the business side by developing programs. But when Lewis knew me at the time, I was, working for the, information technology group. And, this right opportunity for what Verisk was looking for, taking with kind of like my experience in the technology and business side coupled together, it made sense, right? I never thought I'd be in the position. Like I never in ever have I dreamt I'm going to work for ISO or Verisk, right? Never, right? Just because if you look at my experience, it's primarily, I mean, I've lived in the Hartford area. So it's all, you could either choose insurance or manufacturing. And I don't have a lick of engineering whatsoever. So that's why, insurance was the right way to go. But I am very happy to be able to meet the individuals along my career path that have like, pushed me along and told me to look at outside of your comfort zone. Don't look at just only one way, right? Like think about where you're going. As long as you're firstly doing a really kick-ass job at your current role, never forget about that. And then opportunities could be endless. And I think insurance is finally sexy. When I first came in 2008, right? People used to be like, why would you go work for insurance? I mean, I have a finance background. I wanted to work on Wall Street, right? And let's not get into that because that there's a whole episode just on how I ended up in insurance. But now you can do really cool things, and with the advent of Gen AI and agentic AI, and how you can take these data scientist roles and really solve cool problems. Man, it's a good time to be in this space.
It really is. I don't know if we're considered sexy outside of the industry, but it is. It is a great time to be in the industry. So we've got like 5-6 minutes left.
Yep.
So I'll give you a softball. What are you expecting for the next year, 2-3 years of the reinsurance revolution and the way that it integrates into insurance?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd say, I mean, I'm seeing it more and more, right? I think where I am, there is a true need for more specialized risks and looking at truly expansion of the MGA model and the excess and surplus lines.
The MGA model has had massive growth in the Insurtech revolution, and we now have the MGA lab by Insurtech New York,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have several accelerators. There is so much you can do today if you either have technology that helps you underwrite better, or if you have very specialized underwriting expertise and a way to bring together a bunch of business that is a good fit for that underwriting expertise. It is a dream time to launch a tech MGA.
I love it, right? And I think the people that will truly be successful, right? I mean, I'm a technologist by heart, so I think technology is the way to go. But the people can understand the risk parameters and solving for those non-traditional risks now, right? Because I feel everything has become more non-traditional, other than outside of the auto, home, and traditional brick and mortar commercial buildings, right? But I think there's so much specialization that if you understand the parameters of how to price and understand risk exposures, taking those and expanding and developing a tech while you also can partner on the technology side, there's going to be immense opportunity. It's going to make a lot of people a lot of money while also doing it for a greater good. Because just think about where I am in Florida right now. The west side has been hitting by hurricanes, I think, for the past 10 years, right? Like, not that I wish hurricanes on any other part of the country, but let's just give the west coast of Florida a little bit of breathing room for just a couple of years. My first year I got here, I had 2 hurricanes and I had snow in the same year. How crazy is that? But I think there's the specialization and truly looking at what are some risks that now we can start potentially pooling and solving through technology. And the biggest denominator now that we have is data. Data can tell us a lot, either from historical, now like the pooling of structured, unstructured, semi-structured, how you develop insights, and then technologies as Gen AI, these agents that will make our job easier should be able to make things more efficient and get these products quicker to market.
Agreed. Arlind, a real pleasure. Always a real pleasure to
Yes.
see you in chat. Awesome to see what you're building on both sides of your career. From experience, I can tell you there's nothing more awesome than seeing your professional hobby and your day job align well. The better those align, the better your life is by far. And that's a beautiful thing. And that I think we'll see more and more people do kind of going forward, especially with Gen Z and Gen Z's strong desire for side gigs that give them stability, and that help them build skill. So absolutely fantastic. Always welcome to come back on the show.
Thank you.
You,
Appreciate that.
Stacy, always welcome to
Love it.
talk on the show. Yeah, real pleasure. Look forward
Yeah.
to see you in the fall. I'm guessing ITC for sure.
Yep.
And Guidewire connections if I do make it this for the first time. And we'll see what other conferences. But yeah, awesome
Yeah.
to see you.
Oh, thank you Tony, for having me on your podcast, on your show. You know, you like you said, we've known each other now for 5+ years. It's like your passion and what you bring to the industry. We need more folks, man, and
I
love
agree.
love the persona that you have, and I think more people should follow suit. And you fill a very important job in our ecosystem. So
Thank you.
look forward to being invited. And anybody can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm passionate about what I do, and on both sides, right? I think those, when, like you said, when you can mix your professional hobbies with your day-to-day job, everything else should go smooth sailing.
I am so thankful for that last year. And yeah, huge fan of the organization. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Have a good one.